Now, when they asked me which topic I wanted to share, I just talked about servant leadership. And the reason is that that's what comes naturally to me. One of those things that I don't have to go on Google and search things and, do the new thing that they talk about, chat, what, GTP, or is it GTP? GTP. I'm testing whether you are sleeping. But be very careful when you are using that thing, because at times they are not geo-intelligent like that. They will see Adabraka and say Nebraska. So just be careful. The Jesus model is what is driving this whole conversation. And servant leadership, as we talk about, and team excellence. And I'm talking about it within the context of my own journey. It got to a point that I noticed something, that even before I started assuming leadership roles, God had apparently prepared me somehow, not for the position of a leader, but for the expression of leadership according to the God standards. I elected to be a volunteer worker in church some many years ago. And for me, I think that's where it all started. And those of you who are in church activities, you know what a volunteer worker is. And I was introduced to a book in 1987 by an American Christian leader called Ron Kite. And the title of the book is Ushering in His Excellence. This book taught me not how to lead, but how to usher in the church. It was a real book. Unfortunately, my pastor told me to go and read the book and go and teach the others. That day I almost collapsed. It turns out that was a turning point. How we woke up ahead of everybody else. The times that we used to get to church, in the 80s and in the early 90s, there were all these sorts of all nights. We go Friday night. Every church was doing Friday night all night. So we go to church Friday night, and trust me, I don't show up at home till Sunday evening, because I am arranging the chairs for the all night. We finish the all night. Saturday, we sweep. We go and rent chairs from town, set up the canopies, do all the things, sleep small in the church room. Saturday, there's women's fellowship. We have to arrange. Saturday evening, there's choir practice. We have to arrange. And I'm not telling you a story. I'm telling you about what I did. We arranged the chairs. At some point, I was confused whether I was a chorister, a marriage counselor, or whether I belonged to the women's fellowship. And then, Sunday morning, I'm at the car park, parking vehicles. You do that for the first 1.5 to 2 hours, and then you move into the church, seating people. And I did this for 12 years. For 12 years. And in the process, I picked a few things. which have stayed with me. And this is the servant leadership attributes that we talk about. Now, if we are talking about the Jesus model or God as CEO, we are talking about being driven by the attributes of God to function effectively in our businesses. I depart from the construct of having a picture of a certain Jesus on the wall to indicate that Jesus is the CEO. That's deception. We are talking about learning about the real attributes of Jesus, constructing them into values that will drive your personal leadership and the organization that you are leading. Now, again, let me put it in context. I take a scripture from Revelations 22:13. You don't need to search that. It's very simple. He says that he is the Alpha and what? Omega. We need to first believe that whatever journey we are embarking on, it is God who has triggered the commencement of the journey. And if it is God who has triggered it, it is the same God who will see us through to a complete end. You believe that? So whatever we talk about is against the background that it is God who is at work in us, both to do and to will of his good pleasures. I like to start from the platform of faith so that we know that we all believe that God is in the works. Now, because of how we were exposed to the works, the structure of work through colonialism, we all think that to be a leader means you must have a position and a title. I think we are getting to the point where we will now open ourselves up to understand that having that leadership position starts with the towel, not the title. Let's look at John 13:12. John 13:12. So after he had washed their feet, he had taken his garments and was set down again. He said unto them, Know ye what I have done to you? Ye call me Master and Lord. Ye say, Well, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. So we have a perfect example of the humility of Jesus, being a servant and expressing his leadership through servanthood. Now, the kind of work that I do, at times, it gives me the opportunity to see things differently from time to time. I heard the bosses say that hire slowly and what? Fire quick. I operate in a talent-driven environment where you can't fire quick. Anytime you think of firing somebody within the space that we occupy, it is God telling you to give another chance for transformation. And I'm not saying that everybody that you give the chance will be transformed. Some people are just stubborn. But over time, we have noticed that when people are driven by talent, they express their talents differently. So the scientific approach to to dealing with the evaluation gets a bit murky at times. So we followed the Jesus example, and we also got to understand that the leadership principles or the leadership issue in the kingdom is not about positions. At all, it's not about positions. It's about your posturing. I picked a few things from Auntie Stella when she was talking, especially when she talked about empathy. The issue will play itself out as we look at the Jesus model of leadership. The first is humility that we'll talk about. That the leader must express a certain level of humility. And the level of humility is not the leader putting their hands behind them, and then when they greet you, you use your head to respond. It means you are humble. That's deception. The humility is about making yourself transparent so that your colleagues, your team members can see through your actions. Submit yourself to the standards that you set. You don't tell people to come to work at 6 a.m. and then show up at 8 a.m. In my organization, I don't have a car park to myself. Reverend Isudanaba wrote a book some years ago. The title of the book is Pressure of the People. I don't know who knows that book. Pressure of the People. If you let yourself go, the people will put you into that space where you cannot be humble. Because the moment you get to work, somebody will come and offer you the space like you are some special person. And you also go and park there. When you are coming and you have to use the lift, everybody will move away from the lift, and you two, you are happy. And you see me with my big stomach, and then I'm happy and I'm taking fans, and no. You are setting a trap for yourself. The issue of humility is in Philippians 2:6-8. We all know that even though he was in the form of God, he did not consider himself. That's not to say that he denied being God. He knew who he was. And he's saying that he didn't have to keep reminding people, but he had the mission to get work done. So when I go to work, my mission is let's get the work done. And she said it, learn how to dirty your hands. That's humility. If you come to my office, I have a huge picture of myself. And it's not a portrait at all. Nothing, it doesn't look like a portrait. It is me, Nimin Chibanku. You know, I don't know how to say that in English, so how do you say? I'm doing the banku. I'm steering the banku. I'm driving banku. That's a picture in my office. And anytime I enter my office, it hits me and reminds me that just bring yourself to the level of everybody. So that is where we are with the humility. We have a scripture. Now, Stella also talked about vision. I noticed that at times, as a leader, where you have people that follow you, instructing people, rebuking people, at times can be very difficult within certain cultural contexts. I mean, if you're in America, things normally work differently. If you're in Ghana, the person's grandfather, his picture is on the CD note. You, who are you? So you just have to be sure how you are communicating. At times, having a very real picture of your desired destination. That is your vision. That vision, having a real picture that you can always share with your followers as a reminder of the journey that we are undertaking, by itself can instruct people. So it's not just a matter of having the vision, but being able to share that vision so that people can be aligned. It's important. And you can find that Jesus did not confuse people. His clear mandate to seek and save the lost. Not at any point was there a doubt about why Jesus was here. And so for me, this is how I do it. I move from the cleaner to the security man. You know, the times I visit my security people at 12 midnight, 1 a.m. But at times when I go, they are dozing. And I'll go and sit by them. And then you'll be there, no. Then you see, when you go first, they'll be snoring. You know, when you are sleeping and somebody comes to sit by you, you feel this heaviness around you. So they'll be snoring, then they'll stop snoring small. Then you know they are going to wake up. And then when they wake up, no, yes, sir, everything under control, sir. I sit with them. I do a lot of things with them. I am telling you that this cutting through to the lowest ranks, you have the benefit of extracting knowledge about your own company that you will never know from the boardroom. The other day, I have one of the stewards, a young lady, and she comes to work at 4 a.m. every day. So I saw her at the gate giving 2 crates of eggs to somebody. I took note of it. And then I saw her another time doing the same thing. So I called her. I said, why are you giving the... He said, oh, sir, it's my... They call it side hustle, right? He said, it's my side hustle. I said, explain. He said, oh, so when I am coming to work, I buy the eggs and put it in a canteen. So I supply some of the staff, one, like that. I said, oh, that's beautiful. So I asked her, how much money did you need to start this business? And then she said, I started with 250 cedis. And you were buying the crates. So how much do you have now? She said, I have 1,000 cedis. So I said, okay, take another 1,000 so that you can multiply. Now, this wasn't planned. So the lady took the money and looked at me and started crying. The lady wept for about 5 minutes, but I didn't say anything to her. So when she was done crying, I just said she can go now. You know, our office, we have this principle. Every office door is transparent. You can see through. So if somebody is standing outside my office, they can see me sitting there. So if I'm dozing, they know. So I saw the lady standing in front of my office. So I said, come in. She walks in and she goes on her knees and then starts praying in Ga. May you never lack. May God bless you unto your 10th generation. May you and the woman was praying. So I said, hold on. He said, you don't even know what you did for me yesterday. I am saying that these kinds of things, it's not like you are going to do it so that they tell you something, but it opens you up to the real DNA of the organization that you are running. I have loads and loads of such stories. And I think that if we want to emulate the Jesus model, making God a CEO, this is one of those things that we need to learn. Empathy. And Stella talked about empathy. Now, you cannot express empathy if you don't build relationships. One day I was in one of these seminars when somebody asked a question about, about this empathy, and then the guy who was presenting said, well, it depends on the leadership style, some styles, empathy thing doesn't work. And I was sitting at the back with my big head, watching the man. So when he finished, and I said, empathy, it works. Whether you are even Idi Amin, it will work. I have a classmate, who is a senior officer in the Air Force in Ghana. I had gone to the gym at the Air Force mess. I'm sure some people are looking at me and say, hey, with this stomach, do you go to gym? Please, I do. Clap for yourselves, I do. Now, the guy was teaching me swimming. And Charlie, in 3 weeks, I could swim, so that was no brainer. But one day, I had left the poolside. When I was going, a young military officer approached me. So, yes, sir. I said, yeah. Because when he said yes or no, I wasn't sure whether he was mistaking me for somebody in the military because of my mustache. So I said, yeah. He said, oh, I watch you on television. I said, okay, who are you? What's your name? He said, oh, I'm a junior officer with the Air Force, so and so and so and so. The moment he said Air Force, I said, oh, this person, the commander here, is my classmate. He said, oh, God. That man, he's the best thing that ever happened to me in this organization. When I lost my daughter, this guy will call me every morning. He will come to my house. He will let the wife come and take my wife. They will go this. They will do. The military is supposed to be an autocratic institution. Is that correct? Isn't that empathy? Let them know that you are a human being. Don't let them think that you are just a boss. In my office, nobody calls me boss. You can't. And people call me by Samens. It's okay. It doesn't take any. I was called Samens from primary school till today. It hasn't taken anything away from me. If I go to church, even my pastor, Archbishop Duncan, will say, Sam, where are you? And that man, when he calls me, I have to think twice before I pick. Because when you pick, he doesn't ask you what you are doing, can you come or not. Sam, come, then you cut the line. So this empathy thing, let's take it seriously. It does a lot to us. Ultimately, Jesus gave his life, and this leadership is serious business. It is said that leadership that will cost you nothing will accomplish nothing. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about self-convenience. If you are at that leadership position where you think, in some spaces, you can choose to go to work anytime you want, or you can work from home, But for where we are, I have no reason to be late to work. And consistently, I've been doing the kind of work I'm doing for 30 years. My former boss is Kwesi Multimedia. One day we were having a chat, and he said to me that, Charlie, the people that we deal with these days, they are not like you. I am first to get there and last to leave. At times, to my head. But I'm not going to instruct you in words and do otherwise in deed. If I'm calling for sacrifice, I have to lead by example. And that is the Jesus way. Knowing that God is the head of the institution. There are attributes of God that must be seen in us. I'll end with this team excellence that we all want to look for. And we've learned a lot of things. And look, Auntie Stella still was so comprehensive that I'm struggling to pick and choose. But let me just conclude. Never graduate from serving as a leader. Bringing yourself to the point of serving is something that should be part of your DNA. And as a leader, always look for that opportunity to serve. The day you stop serving, that is when you stop leading. The second one is value the invisible people in the organization. Value them, the cleaner, the technician, the intern. There are people who don't have the complimentary cards. There are the people who don't even pop up on the organogram. But they are the people who bear a certain part of the story of your organization that cannot be found in any book. It's always good to be engaged. Another thing is, as a leader, please try and build a culture before profit. Because if you build the profit before culture, this is Ghana. The other day, I heard, again from my former boss, and it's something that I also experienced. When we started our organization, the radio, I normally take people from school. Right? I don't take anybody from another radio station. Everybody must come from school because I want to build a culture. But there are some areas that, you have to compromise more, like the finance people, maybe the sales management and things. Do you know that one day I woke up to my surprise? The organization is Omnimedia, brand name Citi FM. Somebody, a supervisor, had registered a company called Citi Services Limited or something like that. CITI Services Limited. And they go to clients normal. And if the client owes us, they come and tell you that, you owe us how much? So 1,000 Ghana cedis. They say, we are doing a project, so just pay 800 Ghana cedis, and then we can, but that 800 Ghana cedis, we have another company, Citi Services Limited. Can you write a check to and then, Ghana people are being, and then they will do the thing. So this guy had done this with a lot of companies. So in our books, the companies were owing, but from their end, they had paid. Only to see that one of our own, high up the rank, has created a company which is similar to what we have and was taking money. This is where I fire fast. I don't have the time. I don't want to go to court. So where we are at Adabraka, what is across the street? There's a police station there. So I called one of the police people. I said, squeeze the people small. And handed over. They locked them for 3 days. Monday, I said, leave them to go. That's all. work. So if you don't build a culture before profit, these are some of the things that can wreck your journey. Let's lead by example. Let us lead by example and not ego. Because the natural thing is to lead by ego. Don't you know who I am? Who do you think you are? That is not the Jesus way. That is not making God the CEO. Lead by example. If I have an event, I can have a 3-day event. I will not sleep. I will not sit. It's me. I've done it 30 years continuous. And I'm not saying that you also have to do it the same way. But what I'm saying is that don't commit them to a task that you are not prepared to illustrate by example. I think at this point, I need to end it. I'm even 10 minutes past my time, and I thank you for your attention.